Listen to the Vibes.
The views and opinions of our guests may not necessarily reflect those of the host or the Vibes Broadcast Network. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes, and I'm very privileged to have Miss Shintina Garris here with me. She is a domestic violence advocate and also an author, and so we're going to get to know her. We're going to have a great conversation, and hopefully if there's someone out there that needs help, we can get you that help. So Shintina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good day, everyone. Yes, I'm Shintina Garris. I actually reside in Williamsburg, Virginia. I am an Amazon best-selling author. And as Kyle mentioned, I am a domestic violence advocate. After surviving 5 years in a domestic violence relationship, I do utilize my voice to make others aware of trends and patterns that could lead them into that same direction, because I did not have the guidance to identify what was actually happening as it was happening. So, and then I also do motivational speaker with the Amazon bestseller. The book is Words of Wisdom for the Heart and Soul, Lessons, Insights, and Guidance. It's a co-author project. It has myself and 35 women of influence. Each one of us wrote a chapter talking about overcoming adversity, trials and tribulations, different things that we endured. The youngest author is 19 years old, and it goes all the way up to 60. We are not all based in Virginia. So we are Virginia, California, Georgia. I think it was one person in Mexico. So right now we're working on volume 2, and that does not only have women in it. This one actually has a male author in it. And it has lots of mother-daughter combos, husband and wife, and that kind of stuff. So we're excited about volume 2, and it should be released towards the end of 2020.
Wow, that's pretty incredible that you have so many people working together. I think it's, something we really need to bring a little more attention to, because it's not just physical violence, it's also, emotional abuse.
Correct.
And we need to, find those trigger warnings. That happened to my daughter, it's happened to a few people in my life. And tell me a little bit about what you wrote in the book.
My chapter in the book is called The Power of I Am, and I talk about positive self-talk because I do feel like sometimes our words do influence the outcome of scenarios. If we're speaking positive, then positive is going to occur. If we're speaking negatively, then negative is going to occur. So I just believe that it's about being optimistic, being strong in your mind, having a strong mindset, and letting what's in your mind come out of your mouth, and then overall having the best possible outcome for you. So of course it was kind of geared around the Bible, where the power of I am, but I didn't really take that approach on it, because I did take that approach on it because I did reference that scripture in my writing. But what I was thinking was, about manifestation and affirmations and those kind of things, and how we start our day and how we project things into the universe. So that was more so what I remember points and times in my life where I was not being optimistic. I was being very pessimistic, very, very Debbie Downer. And that was a very dark time for me. And I had normally been a positive person, so once I came out of it, I was like, it was me. It wasn't anyone else. It was me. So I began to speak positively, and I saw how it affected and influenced my life, the trajectory of my life.
So I guess it's safe to say that the abuser is a narcissist. And
yes, he is. So it initially started, we met, and it kind of was like, like quick. Like I'm assuming he saw something in me that he could control. because at that time I had 2 children. I was working 2 jobs, and somebody came in, hey, you're pretty, I like to get to know you. So start with a compliment first, okay, and then it was like, oh, I need to help you. You need a man in your life, you need a strong man. You can't raise your kids by yourself, you don't have no support, let me be your support. And the more that I started to lean on him, then it became isolation. Then it was like, where's your family? Look who's here, look around, there's nobody here but me and you, we're all we got. Stop answering the phone for your friends, they're calling, they don't want anything. And then it was everybody's against us, and that was not the case. Everybody was not against it. And once they saw how it was changing me, how it was changing my children, and then once I had a child by him, everything just, it just magnified. I was his possession, his kid, his house, his car, when it was all mine. I had it prior to meeting him, but it was kind of like he just came in and it was all his. And now we're in his world, and, I'm a man. So, banging on, it's just like, oh, I'm the big man in charge. And, you're not being submissive, you're not listening to me. And then it got physical. Because then if you can't control somebody mentally, then now you have to, beat them to a pulp to make them realize that you're much stronger and you're in a position of power.
And we kind of talked about that before we started recording. And I was telling you, thank God my daughter got out of there before it went that far, because I wouldn't be here having this conversation. I'd be sitting behind bars.
Everybody's not fortunate have that. Sometimes families know about it and they'll say, well, that's not my problem. Hey, that's what she wants to do. That's her life. But then we watch the news and we see the stories of the women who didn't make it out. You know what I mean? So that's why if you are in a position to help somebody, even if it's with a few dollars, a bus ticket, something, a room at your house, like if you're really trying to help somebody and you have that serious conversation with, like, do you want out? Do you want out? And I could tell you how I got out, and it was nothing but by the grace of God. I will tell you that, because I had gotten to the point where it was either I was going to kill him or he was going to kill me, and I was prepared for it to go either way. I was really prepared for it to go either way, and that was my prayer. That was my prayer to the Lord. I said, Lord, either he gonna kill me or I'm gonna kill him, but one of us got to stop. It's got to stop. I, of course, didn't want to be away from my kids from doing something violent to him, but I just felt like I really had to set the tone, because if I didn't show my strength, he would continue to beat me to a pulp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So I prayed to God, God, just remove it from my, remove it from my life. Like, I don't even want to, I don't desire him. I don't need him. He's not doing anything for me. And this is not this is not the desires for me. I'm not going to say good, but he's gone away for a very long time. So he's still alive. I didn't do anything to him, and I'm alive because I'm here with you today. But yeah, he was sentenced to a very long time in prison for some other things that he was doing, because most of the time it's not just, they don't just beat their significant other, like it's other little menacing things that they do. So he was doing other little menacing things, and those things actually caught up with him.
Thank God that it caught up with him. Jeez. Right. Well, in a good relationship, the two people involved, they try to lift each other up and encourage each other and say, hey, I support whatever it is that you're doing, and help them to reach their goals. For a lot of these narcissists, they make it out like everything's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of that did he do to you?
All of it, every part of it. I mean, I was the breadwinner. I was working, and it's like he would come to my job, he would make a ruckus at my job. I worked in food service, so he would come there and make a scene on my job. My customers looking at me crazy, my coworkers looking at me crazy. Then my boss would pull me aside. He was like, do you want me to do something? Like, I can make some things happen, And I was like, no, I don't want you to get in trouble. It's gonna all be over with soon, Like I was just thinking one day he was just gonna snap out of it, like, oh, why am I putting my hands on this woman? She's been good to me, open up her house, I'm driving her car, I'm eating good, living good. I shouldn't be hurting her. But that wasn't how he thought. His mind wasn't on that. His mind was, how can I beat her to nothing and remain in this big, powerful, chest poked out, I'm a man. And I'm like, how can you call yourself a man? And together we had a daughter. So that was the turning point. It was kind of like, I didn't want her to see that. That's her dad. But I thought about it for my other kids. But when I had a kid by him, I said, oh no, she doesn't deserve this. We're not going to keep this going. And so I really, I owe it all to God. I owe it all to God, because it was many times where it could have went another way. I mean, I recall running out of the apartment barefoot into the darkness. I remember my neighbors opening doors and allowing me to come into their house. And, I remember the police being called. He ran off into the dark, and the police was like, well, he's not even here. There's nothing that we can do. As soon as the police left, he kicked in my door and attacked me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, most of these women do not make it out of these scenarios. Like, we hear a slim number of them, but it happens daily, many times a day, where a woman does not survive the attacks of their abuser. And so I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about, identifying it young, because kids are getting in relationships younger, and, they're trying to be with their high school sweethearts and their middle school. It starts in middle school and goes all the way up through high school and college. And then, once the person tries to detach, then it turns toxic. They're starting to fight back. Like, no, you can't leave me, and if I can't have you, nobody else will. That's the line that they like to use. So, I just believe that with the amount of drama and trauma and drama that I've gone through with it, I don't want to see anybody else go through it. Anybody else, nobody else's child, not a coworker, not a peer. I don't want to see anybody else go through it.
What's sad is I watched a show about domestic violence and why a lot of these women stay in these relationships. And the sad part of it is subconsciously they see this man who's like, looks like he could protect them, and she's looking for that kind of protection, but she's getting beat by the man she's with. And they convince you that, like I said, everything's your fault, you can't do anything without them, you're nothing without them, they're the only one for you. And oh my, I hate that people feel that somebody that's abusing them is their protector, but we have to change that mindset.
It goes extreme, because they'll even try to they claim they're protecting you from everybody else as well. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't see it, then that's when it goes astray. Like, it'd be like, don't you see what they're doing? They try to highlight the wrong everyone else, but then they're damaging they're damaging it for themselves, because you can't love somebody, inflict pain on them, and then watch them cry, watch them heal from these scars, and then you say, oh, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't treat a dog like that under normal circumstances. You're not gonna kick your dog and say, I love you. So why would you do that to another human being?
I don't get it. I mean, I was taught that you didn't put your hands on a woman no matter what. Now, if I have one that's coming at me and with a knife or something, I might have to do something. You might have to do a little grab tactic or something. But but you just don't put your hands on a woman.
I can say that that made me stronger. It made me wiser. It opened my eyes to a lot. So it's like, now I have a keen sense of it. I can tell when somebody's relationship isn't up and up. I can tell, oh, I better get home before he says something. I don't want to hear his mouth. I don't want to hear him, hear him fussing. I can tell that, hey, he's implementing his power in the wrong way. He's not doing it from a place of love. He's doing it from a place of control.
And that's all it is. It's control. It's just, they look at you like property, basically, and they're gonna control you in every aspect of your life. I mean, they convince you that, like, your parents, they really don't love you, and they're just trying to separate us and keep you from talking to them, your friends, other family members, and then you can't even go anywhere because they accuse you of cheating. And it's been I've noticed that the ones that accuse you of cheating, 9
All
out
the
of 10 times, they're the ones cheating.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, I didn't talk to my family for probably about 3 years,
Oh my God.
during, out of the 5 years, because at first he would go home, he would go home with me, and we would have like cookouts because I'm from the country. So it's like we would always have cookouts, everybody sitting around in the yard, sitting on the porch, it was always a community day or, something going on. At first he would go home, oh, this is so nice. Oh my God, I had so much fun over there. And then the next time it would come around, I'm not going over there to that mess. You think I don't see the way he looked at you? Who?
Mhm.
And it's like, then it was like, well, you go if you want to, you go at your own risk, I don't care, and then you go, you like, okay, well, he's just a little upset, I'm just gonna go. He called you the whole time, what are y'all doing? Oh yeah, I bet that same person is there, and then make it so uncomfortable that you can't enjoy yourself, so then it's like you might as well get in the car, pack up, and come home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it does not take all of that to be in a healthy, happy relationship. It does not take all of that. All it takes is two people coming together. I want to be with you. I want to be with you. We're going to be together. We're going to do the best that we can do for each other, with each other, by each other. We're going to grow together and expand. You don't have to condense somebody down to, nothing to, show them that you're everything that they need. Because you're not everything that we need, because we're humans. You know what I'm saying? We're humans. We're not immortal. We're not going to live forever. So you're pretty much telling a person, if something happens to you, they're not going to have a quality of life. And your quality of life should never rest in another human being.
That's right. That's right. Well, we would go to the grocery store and, they have those little tracking things on your phone to see where you're at all the time.
Right.
And if we were at the store, he would call immediately and ask my daughter, where are you at? What are you doing? Who you with? And all this kind of stuff. It's like,
yeah,
really? Well, my wife, and mind you, this is my second marriage, and as my wife, this is her second marriage. She had friends before we met, and some of them were guys.
Right.
And I got to meet them, so I know who they are. I trust my wife, if they call or they text or something.
Right.
She offers up for me to see her phone, but I don't have to. I trust her.
Right.
And in the same way, I do this. I mean, I have friends who are girls, and she knows who they are.
Right.
And neither one of us would go somewhere with them alone, just out of respect. But even if my wife did that, I trust her enough.
Now, I think it's important for people to have friends of the opposite sex, just to have well-rounded relationships. You know what I'm saying? Say your wife have a flat tire, you can't get to her. Hey, babe, I'm going to call, I'm 3 blocks from Mike's house. I'm going to call Mike and tell him to come over here and change my tire. You know who Mike is, you know what I'm saying? And your wife is making you full aware. It's not an area of gray. You know what I'm saying? It's no area of gray. She's being very transparent there. So there's no reason for that, but it's, and if y'all have a cookout or a shindig, a holiday party or something, and she says, hey, I'm gonna invite the guys over. They come over with their wives or significant others or whatever. Hey, we're having a good time. We're friends. We're adults. And I think that's a sign of maturity. That's a sign that you can control your emotions. And I just think when you get to this big age of, I'm 41, when you get to this age, you've had friends. You've been to elementary school, middle school, high school, college. You've worked 10 jobs. You did all of this and you didn't accumulate any relationships.
Exactly. I trust my wife so much, and I know there's going to be people out there that's going to talk bad about me because I had family that did the same thing, but
right.
her ex-husband ended up homeless. And anyway, it was wintertime. It's freezing outside and it was getting colder, and the guy was sleeping in his car. Well, I felt bad for him, so I let him come stay with us until he could find another place to live. And my wife didn't mess around with him. She had no desire to be with him, but I just felt like, it was the right thing to do, was to help this guy,
Right. Right. And I mean, I'm quite sure, it made him see you in a different light. If he ever had any issue or hang up with you, he's probably saying, oh, he's a man's man. I can respect him. You know what I'm saying? He's a man. He didn't cower down. He didn't tell her, forget this guy. He has a Christian heart. He's empathetic to the fact, because you're thinking, hey, if I were to be homeless, I wouldn't want to be outside. I would want somebody to open a door for me and allow me to come in and be warm and have shelter. So, that's going to come back to you. That's going to come back to you tenfold, because you did the right thing. So even if all people involved did not have the good intentions, you had good intentions. You put out good, you're going to get good back.
Yeah, I mean, even when, my wife has 2 girls, and one of them got sick and was in the hospital. And so I contacted him. I'm like, hey, man, your daughter's here in the hospital. You need to check on her, here, talk to her, that kind of thing. And he told me that was the moment that he started to really respect me, because, I was looking out for his daughter and I was looking out for him.
Right.
So,
yeah, and definitely, when you get to a certain level of maturity, you understand the importance of just being positive, just having a positive mindset, and just being a good individual. I mean, you have children. Outside of the daughter. So if something happens to her, you will want her stepdad or her mom's significant other, whatever, to make you aware. Then if we go to the hospital or something, we all in the waiting room, hey, the child is what's important.
Exactly.
Our hang-ups and the things that made us not be on one accord doesn't have anything to do with the child receiving the care that it needs. We're here we're the adults in the room.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We're all supposed to gather together and pray together and everything else for the child.
Right.
That has nothing to do with whatever separated our significant other and their spouse.
And I think it's very important for children to see all adults involved on the same level as well, because I think when they don't see that, that's the little wiggle room that they take to turn mommy against dad. You know what I'm saying? If when it comes to disciplinary actions, if they're sitting at that round table, then everybody knows what's going on. Because a child take things from daddy, and then they'll call mommy and say, well, daddy said it was okay. You know what I'm saying? But if it's 4 people involved in the care of that child, now that child sees, hold on, everybody's together, they're a united front. I can't play these childish games. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting over on anybody.
That's right. And another thing that affects so many people that are in abusive relationships is you develop depression, you develop anxiety, some develop PTSD. And
yes,
we need to be aware of those trigger signs as well. When it comes to helping people, the first thing we should do is just say, hey, do you need someone to talk to and just listen? Do you need advice? And let them decide. And sometimes it's hard to bite your tongue when you really care for someone, you want to help them, but if all they need is an ear, we need to give it to them.
Right.
You developed depression and anxiety as well, right?
I dealt with anxiety and depression. Now, my trigger, well, when it finally was disclosed to me, was actually in 2019 when I lost my dad. And it was one of those things where my dad, I was his primary caregiver, and it just took up a lot of my time caring for him, which I loved it. I'm my only kid, so I actually loved it. And then when he when he passed away, I didn't have anything to occupy that time. So it was just me and my thoughts, and different people, planning a funeral, something I had never done before. Never had dealt with the loss of a parent before. The only child, just on like, am I doing this right? You don't have anybody to consult with on whether you're doing this right, or anything. Luckily, I had a good friend that was a mortician. He pretty much did everything for me, what color, what day, what time, and he went from there. But after everything was with, and I came back, I was just alone with my thoughts again. So I began to just overthink, and I was just like in excruciating pain, and I went to the doctor just trying to find out where this pain was coming from. And, and she finally told me, she was like, you're suffering from it. She asked me if anything in my life had changed. So it didn't just go through that. She did do a battery of tests, urine, blood, CTs, MRIs and everything. And, all the tests within normal range. And, then she asked me if anything in my life changed. And I told her that I had lost my dad. And, that's when she said, that you're dealing with anxiety and depression. We need to get you on something. You're not sleeping. Well, I was laying in bed, but I wasn't getting good rest. So she said, we have to do something to help you get, good rest, because your body is fatigued. You're wearing yourself out. So, she put me on medicine, and the medicine is different. It's different. I mean, if you've never taken an antidepressant medicine, it is like, it puts you in a fog. It's like an out of body experience. It is, it mellows you out, but with the wrong medicine, which they have to sometimes try you on a couple of different medicines to figure out the one that works best for you. But some of those medicines are debilitating, you know what I'm saying? Where you can't even function, and because they tell you to stay on it for a while, let it get in your system good, and then we'll see how, it's affecting you. And some of them, you can almost feel it immediately. Some of them, it takes a while. And then some of them, it's like you're taking nothing. It doesn't do anything for you. So once you get through all of those, figuring out which one works best for you, then, you start having a more normal life. But it does have triggers. The environment is a big trigger. Like when it rains for me, when it goes from spring to fall, that kind of thing. Gloomy days are really, really hard for me. Also, I figured out that alcohol was a huge trigger for me. I used to, be a social drinker. I used to always keep wine in the house, a bottle of liquor. Somebody come over, hey, y'all want to mix drink? It's, it's some vodka down there. It's just some juice in the refrigerator. Have a drink, and I would drink, and then 2 or 3 days later, I would be like a ball of tears, like emotional all over the place or whatever. And I just kept doing it, because like the weekend is Friday and Saturday. So you do it Friday and Saturday. Then by the time you feel the effects of it, it's Wednesday. Then Wednesday, you're in a stupor. But Friday, you're back up because it's time to do it all over again. So it was like, darn, it's like a roller coaster. It's like a roller coaster. So I started paying attention to that. And I said, well, maybe if I cut, alcohol out of the equation, maybe I'll see some difference. Because some things is as simple as diet. What I'm saying? Some items in your diet, could have an influence on your anxiety and depression. So that was the main trigger for me, alcohol. And so once I cut that out, and I would go out with friends, and they were like, oh, you're gonna have a drink? No, I'm not gonna have a drink. Oh, what's wrong with you not drinking? Oh, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in a drink. And and that's gaining control of the scenario, because there are many ways to combat it. I had a friend a few weeks ago. She called me and she said, pray for me. And I said, okay. I said, what's wrong? And she said, I'm having a high anxiety day. I said, okay. Are you able to leave for work? Because she works like a county job or whatever. I said, are you able to leave for work? She said, yeah, I could take a half day. I said, go home, take your cold shower, go to a dark, quiet place, and get some rest. I said, if you can drop the temperature down a few degrees, that'll be great. Snuggle in a blanket and go to bed. Get you some rest. Because sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes it's fresh air. Sometimes it's exercise. It just depends on what works for you. So it is trial and error. It is trial and error. And everything doesn't work for everybody. That's true. I know when I'm having a day where I'm anxious, I can come in this house, I can go to the bathroom and have not a cold shower, but like much cooler than I would normally have it for bathing purposes. I can take a shower. I can put on my favorite robe. I can put a towel up to this window to kind of black it out a little bit. And I can lay down. I'll sleep like a baby. When I wake up, I'm better. You know what I'm saying? I'm better. It's your thoughts. Your thoughts are running and your heart is racing. And you just, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? You don't know what is going on at that period of time. But to prevent from hurting yourself, hurting somebody else, being at work, short temper, get fired, have a car accident, get to a place where you feel most comfortable at and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if someone feels that alcohol is a trigger, I would definitely say cut back on alcohol. Maybe if it's Christmas or something like that, a holiday time, but definitely don't be a social drinker and try to combat anxiety and depression and taking prescription medicines.
That's right. That's right. Well, me personally, I don't drink anymore because I'm an alcoholic. I can't stop.
Right.
So
I understand.
I cut it out completely. And, I guess I contributed to domestic abuse because I was such an alcoholic that I didn't pay really that much attention to my family. And then they'd see me, my moods change. I mean, I never got physical,
right?
But, just being drunk all the time, I think that was abuse on my children, especially.
Yeah.
So
they start to think that's normal. They start to think that that's normal. Like that's what we do. We go to work and, I'm going to come home and pop a beer and I'm going to flop down in front of the TV, oh, don't bother him. He's drinking. Don't, whatever. We teach our kids how to love us, how to interact with us. So, if that's your day in and day out routine, then yeah, it's not healthy for all parties involved.
And I definitely take responsibility for that. I feel like, my boys, they've pretty much forgiven me for everything. They don't talk about it. They're just regular relationship. And my daughter, who I know she loves me, but I can still kind of tell she has resentment toward me, and I don't blame her. I was a jerk when I was drinking.
Right. So, yeah, alcohol is a monster. Alcohol is a monster. I mean, anything that controls you and you don't control it is a monster. So yeah, if you're gonna have a drink, one drink, okay, two drink, yeah. But if you're getting totally, obliviated, you don't know what's going on, intoxicated, vomited, all passed out on the floor, somebody got to take you to your car, and then you get into other dangers of possibly having a DUI or, you know what I'm saying? So you can't do that. Alcohol poisoning, like it's so many things that can occur when you're, under the influence of drugs. And there are very many drugs. And these youngsters, they know that there are so many different drugs. I mean, they're doing wax and this and that and all this kind of stuff. You cannot be your whole self under the influence of a drug day in and day out. You're not getting no quality out of the life that God has blessed us with.
Gosh, I went through a phase where I was doing coke all the time, and that takes over like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I'd start doing it, and I'd be that happy, friendly guy that wouldn't shut up. But still, when you come down off of those drugs, you're mean. And,
you're mean. You are looking for the next high. You're looking to be happy again. And when you can't get happy again, then you're angry that you can't get happy again. So it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And not only does the person that's dealing with the drugs suffer, family, friends, anyone that loves that person suffers.
So my advice to anyone out there that drinks or does drugs, even though you may not get physical, when you're stumbling around drunk, even if you're a happy drunk, you're stumbling around and all that stuff, that's abuse on your family. It really is.
Yep.
And what was the name of the book again?
Okay, the book is Words of Wisdom for Your Heart and Soul.
Okay. And
it is available on Amazon, but it's also available directly through my website, which is www.shintina, SHINTINA, Garris, GARRIS.com. The book is $20. We did partner it with a journal as well. So as you're reading the book, you can make notes in the journal. The journal is also $20, or on my website, you're able to get the book and the journal for $35. And it does come with a complimentary free gift. The book just was released in July, so I'm really, really excited about it. My birthday was July 31st. My birthday was July 30th. The book was released July 29th, and I had a live on my website July 31st because the young lady that was dealing with my website, she ran into a few little hiccups or whatever. But I was really excited. I felt like it was a great birthday gift to myself. I've been getting lots of great reviews about the book, and I've been doing vendor events and pop-up shops all around the local area, which, like I said, I live in Williamsburg, so I've been doing pop-up shops in Newport News and on the Eastern Shore of Virginia. And like I said, with us working on volume 2 and possibly rolling that out by the end of 2022, I think the two together would definitely aid in your own personal journey and your healing.
And you have some events coming up?
So I actually don't have anything on the calendar right now. The next one is actually in November. It's supposed to be like a holiday bazaar to start selling items in lieu of the holidays. But I don't have the actual date for it yet. The young lady just reached out to me. So this week, this Saturday, Sunday past, I had 2 events both days, 2 events Saturday, 2 events Sunday. And then I finished up at Woodside High School here in Newport News on Tuesday. They're back to school night. So a lot of students and administrators both bought the books. So I'm positive that, it's getting out there. It's had great success on Amazon as well. So yeah, that's the book.
And when you do have events, you post that like on social media?
Yes. So those events are also listed on my website. So if you go to my website, it'll have not only the book and journal there, but it also have upcoming events. And I do post little messages, inspirational messages up there. So I'm really just getting into it. I've never had a website before, so I didn't know it was so much work. I kind of thought it was like set it and forget it. But I see people go there often and they subscribe to it and different things like that. So I know they're looking to, for some type of engagement. Mm-hmm. So now that I'm learning that, I'm doing that a lot more often.
And what all social media are you on?
I'm on Facebook, and that's author Shintina Garris. And then, like I said, I have the website. I don't do any of the other social media platforms because I'm not that tech savvy. So Facebook is the one I feel most comfortable with. And of course, if you need me, you can definitely inbox me. You can definitely email me or contact me via my website. My email address is sgarris, SGARRS 757@gmail.com. You can email me there for any events that you may have coming up. I would love to be a part of it. I am getting my feet wet with public speaking and motivational speaking. And then, like I said, I'm a domestic violence advocate. So I'm very strongly pounding the ground to get the word out that love does not hurt.
Well, anytime you have an event, and even when your book comes out, please let me know. I'd love to help get the word out, and I'll put it up on my pages as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm so glad that we got to meet on Facebook and that you spent time with me today. And I hope that somebody out there is listening that needs help, that you will go get that help.
Right. And do keep in mind, in your local area, even if you're not here in Virginia, there are programs through your local social service department. If there is an active protective order, when that officer comes out, he should give you a pamphlet that has a number on the back of it. If you feel like yourself or your children are in harm's way, do contact them. There are citywide, statewide, and federal programs to help domestic violence survivors. So never feel like you're alone. If it can't be your immediate family, friends, or circle, definitely don't stay quiet. Do not suffer in silence. I cannot say it enough. Do not suffer in silence. Anybody that has 2 ears, you let them know what you're going through, because you never know what resources they have. Definitely social services, your local social service department. Always use Google. You can put in domestic violence shelters, and they are to keep your information confidential, because they do not want to put you in harm's way. So do not suffer in silence. Like I said, if you need me, definitely email me, sgarris757@gmail.com, or contact me via my website, and I'll do anything I can within my power, through the power of the internet, and being led by the Holy Spirit to assist you, because I don't want another life or another individual to suffer.
Yeah, don't stay in that situation. You don't deserve that. And if you have kids, they don't deserve to see that or be a part of it either.
Right.
So, and my email is in there too. Message me. I will point you in the right direction. if I can't help you directly. So thank you again, Shintina. This has been wonderful.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate your transparency, and I hope you continue to heal. And, I would love to meet your wife. So do tell her thank you for allowing me to have this little bit of time with you, and much success at everything that you do, Mr. Kyle, okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And for all you out there, if you happen by this channel and this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. And I do hope you'll come back. And for my regulars out there, you know how much I appreciate you. It's because of you that I get to do this. So until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network